think the number one problem, it's the number one problem in America. It makes me think of another story. Two guys were talking, and one said to the other, I think the biggest problems in our country today are ignorance and apathy. And the guy said, I don't know and I don't care. And it's the truth about the state of our country. We've got too many people that need to wake up and say our country has been hijacked, it's been taken away from us, and what we believe as Americans, we need to get our country back to the roots that we had, of how we were founded. We need to get back, our government to go back to being what it was created to be, not what our president has led us to where we are today. Those are the biggest issues. We need to go back to being Americans. That's what I think.
Mr. Prosser.
The biggest problem that we have is that while my children are in school every day, the federal deficit goes up $180 million an hour, $1.25 billion in one day while they're in school. And not only while they're in school, it happens every hour, every night, over the weekend. This is killing our country. We are approaching $16 trillion in debt in this nation, and that is unsustainable. That has to be turned around. We cannot pass that legacy of debt on to our children and on to our grandchildren. That's my primary motivation for running. It's the primary problem that we have here in the 7th District. It's what we need to address at the federal level. Nothing else matters if we cannot address the deficit spending, and we have to do that. This Congress, we are on the precipice of doing permanent damage to our economy.
Mr. Wallace, 1 minute.
I believe the number one problem that's going on in the 7th District specifically is jobs. We've got way too many people who are out of work, and we've got to get them back to work. Dillon County is as high as 15%. I think Marlboro and Marion are as high as 19%. You got high unemployment even here in Horry County. We have got to get to work to get people, to work. We've got to get and find jobs for them. So that's, I think, the number one priority when we come in here is play into the strengths of each one of our counties and figuring out a way to bring economic development and economic opportunity to the district. I think on a national level, it is our national debt. If you add up entitlements to defense spending, you're $478 billion in the hole if you don't do anything else. That's 41 cents out of every dollar. That's totally unsustainable. And when you pay your national debt, the interest on it, which is $198 billion with borrowed money, you're committing financial suicide. So those two things are what we have got to go to work to do. Solve our jobs crisis, solve our overspending crisis.
Mr. Bauer.
Without any question, unemployment is our number one problem in this district. We need to vote. As the next congressman, I'll vote to reduce taxes. I'll vote to reduce spending. I'll personally help with economic development. We've got to improve education so that companies will want to locate here and have their top wage earners here and not just their low wage earners here. We've got to do all we can to make it so that people can borrow money again. Nobody's going to open up a business if they can't borrow the money. They're not going to have the money to fund it. So we're going to have to go back and change the system right now, what the feds are doing to our banks, so banks can thrive, and so they'll be able to load the money. And last, we've got to encourage more people to come here. That's going to take a salesperson. We've got to go out and tell people why they want to be here. We've done a great job in doing that for people to come and retire here, but we got to get people to also come here and be able to open a business. And furthermore, there's so much talent in this room and in our community. We need to change the rules so that people that have an expertise can come and teach in the public school without having to get a teaching degree. We want people that are the best people in the world right here, educate our young people, giving them reasons to get involved and create their own businesses.
I totally agree that the number one issue in this district is unemployment. I think that the way we solve that is we bring jobs back from overseas. The way to solve that is to cut the corporate tax rate and cut the federal regulation. Until we see that once we do that, the companies just want to make money and they want to be here. They like the rule of law, they like our capital, they like our markets. They want to be here. If we make ourselves competitive, those jobs will come back. Now here locally, we need infrastructure. This entire district has been left behind for decades. What we need is a strong advocate. My entire career, I've been a strong advocate, and I will work hard for you. With respect to job creation, We're doing it right here in Horry County. We looked to see what it took to make ourselves competitive. We put in a plan, and it's working. It's working right now. We can do the same thing district-wide. And when I am your congressman, I will hire a seasoned professional economic developer as part of my staff. Thank you.
We're out in the district every day, and I'm talking with people in Chesterfield and Marlboro and Georgetown County, Horry County, Marlboro. It doesn't matter where it's at. Everybody has the same problem, jobs. If they have a job, it's not making enough money to be able to pay their bills. If they don't have a job, they can't afford the diesel or the gas to get to the beach for what they call a service industry job. So we're all right up here. The problem with our 7th district is jobs. Like Andre said, you've got to have somebody in sales. You've got to have somebody that understands how to bring those companies in. What are you going to do to entice them to come to the 7th district? They're going to be looking at Georgia. They're going to look at Tennessee. They're going to look at North Carolina, New York, all over the country. What's going to separate us from those other states? And that's having the right person in Washington, D.C. to call on those companies and industries and to say, hey, you need to look at the 7th district and you need to look at South Carolina. Nikki Haley and I would be great working together to bring jobs here to South Carolina, to the 7th district.
Mr. Mayor.
You're not going to hear this very much from anybody, but we're the problem. We've accepted mediocrity in our state and our nation. You need to fire all of us. You really do. We talked about the Georgetown Port for over 10 years, still haven't even gotten the first dig of sand out. We talked about I-73 for over 20 years. We may have put a shovel in North Carolina, but nothing really in South Carolina at all. We're your biggest problem is because we want to take credit for everything. And we don't want to charge any more money to get you the things that you want to make your lives better. So we're stuck in the cycle. We want the credit, you want your money, and we're going to get your money from you. So, because we have to build the infrastructure. So our biggest problem is us. Second biggest problem is you get us working for you in the right way. We can get the jobs here because that's what you demand. And our job is to fulfill your desires for us. To provide jobs for all South Carolinians.
Mr. Whittington.
I've spoken with the majority of the members on the county council, Mayor Wakila in Florence, John Rhodes, Mayor Tony Watkins up in Darlington, and there are no screaming, horrible problems in this district. We're a thriving, growing district. However, obviously unemployment is a problem, but that's not a federal issue, that's a state issue, and I think we've got people at the local and county council here under Tom Rice's leadership. I know they're doing some things here. So, and I agree with Chad Prosser also. We can do all these little things, little projects here and there, tourism, all that sort of thing. If we don't solve this spending and debt problem, we're 15 trillion in debt and going $1 trillion a year with no way to even diminish that. So that's what I'm going to work at if I get to Washington. We've got good people here in this county and in this state to take care of the unemployment problem.
Ms. Jenrette.
I'm sorry I haven't dazzled you with a bunch of numbers you can find on Google. However, in 2013, we will have the largest tax increase in history. Along with that, also next year, will be the 100th anniversary of the 16th and 17th Amendment, a federal power grab. If we repeal the 16th Amendment, which is your income tax, you'll have more money in your pocket, and you can tell Congress what you'll give to them and what you won't give to them. If we repeal the 17th Amendment, we'll have U.S. senators right here in our state who will vouch for us and care about our state's rights versus their California's, Texas, and Florida's. We need to man up and say no to the government. The 10th Amendment has been neutered by the 16th and 17th Amendment. And if you don't know these amendments, you need to go learn them. If we have our money back in our pockets, and our U.S. senators defend for our states, so that our 10th Amendment is working, giving us more control of our state, South Carolina can take care of South Carolina.
Daniel, we go to the next question or we go to closing arguments? Do we have time for that?
Was that everybody?
Go to closing.
Let's close it. Closing minutes.
You want to go to that last?
We got 20 minutes.
We got 22 minutes.